Group has to be able to move its best and brightest around the world. If we can't do that, we can't innovate. And so it's great to talk about innovation, but you got to also be able to protect the atmosphere to innovate.
Thanks, Kevin. Sonam.
I don't know that we need to repeat kind of everything that's been said, because I would agree with it. I think I would say it's important. I think one of the challenges that we face as a society in general is, in many ways, everything has become global. So processes have become global, corporations have become global. There's lots of global stuff, yet we still operate in nation-state structures. And so immigration is probably the #1 place where we see this playing out most effectively, which is how do people and ideas move across global boundaries. And we haven't yet figured out, we've innovated technology and we've certainly opened up the process of getting information to people, but we haven't yet figured out how to collaborate effectively, in which you cross global IP lines, you cross global state boundaries that you have. And that, I think, is going to be a place where I would say corporations certainly have a big role to play in thinking about how those global structures get created amongst nation states. India has the same problem as the United States, which is how do those lines blur in allowing you for more of that to happen, and how do we make that happen? And this is where I think the diaspora can also play a very important role in thinking about how those policies actually start changing. It's not just about going to your congressman and saying, you need to open up the visa process. It's really thinking about how do you allow for innovation, technological innovation to take place. And what's fascinating to me is it's no longer a one-way street. Before it used to be products developed here, sold in other countries. Now it's really sometimes products developed elsewhere, thinking about how you can integrate them back into the United States. One of them, is water technologies. Clean water technologies actually in India is where most of the interesting clean water, low-cost technologies are coming, and GE and others are going there trying to figure out how they can buy those up. Similarly with healthcare, low-cost healthcare technologies are actually built mostly in India, but that's where people are going to get those ideas. So the boundaries have changed. The question is, how are the processes and policies going to change in allowing that to happen? And then finally, when we think about innovation, it's funny because it's become the buzzword, innovation and entrepreneurship, yet it's been happening for generations. And when we think about the sciences, when we think about pharmaceuticals, when we think about physics, chemistry, all those innovations, and many of them have been by the diaspora coming here or coming to other countries and developing kind of new processes, new technologies. And right now, Silicon Valley is the hot thing to talk about. So we talk about the innovations in Silicon Valley. But those innovations, whether it's even in the financial services industries, many of them have been part of where the diaspora has been involved. The question is, how do we recognize it and know that this has been happening, and now think about it in a global structure of how do we allow this to cross boundaries? So it's not just about innovation and entrepreneurship, but the co-creation